Welcome back to another Forge College Explainer. If you've been following along in our From EVM to SVM track, you know we've been heavily focused on migrating your development workflow. In our previous lesson, we got our hands dirty running the Solana test validator and local nodes. We loaded programs, poked at accounts, and practiced resetting state snapshots. That hands-on work was absolutely crucial because it showed us exactly how an Anchor test run depends on a highly deterministic local legistate. But, well, what happens when we need to scale that process way beyond our own laptops? Today, we are looking at deployment pipeline design for Anchor projects. We're going to take that manual sequence and translate it into a repeatable, automated factory line.
Ah, yes, the classic developer battle cry. We've literally all been there, right? I swear it worked perfectly on my local machine. And you know, while manually starting a validator, airdropping tokens, and running your deployment script works totally fine when you're just hacking away solo, it is an absolute nightmare for team collaboration. The sheer terror of manual deployments, the very real risk of leaked private keys, those incredibly subtle toolchain version mismatches, it's enough to keep any Web3 developer awake at night. So today, we are framing the CI/CD pipeline as the ultimate engineering blueprint to definitively solve the "it works on my machine" problem for your Anchor projects.
Okay, let's dive into this master blueprint. Today we're going to cover chaos to automation, the big three stages, artifacts and caching, keys and environments, Hardhat to Anchor translations, and finally, the CI blueprint in action. Section 1. Chaos to automation. Manual versus automated workflows.
So this is where we finally stop relying on our local duct tape methods. Think about your manual local flow. It's stateful, heavily reliant on manual inputs, and just completely unpredictable. You might have some weird leftover state from a previous test run, or maybe an old key pair is just lying around messing things up. An automated pipeline, on the other hand, demands absolute precision. Those exact, concrete levers you were pulling locally, like managing the validator lifecycle, handling key pairs, and building the Anchor program, they must now be ruthlessly controlled inputs in your CI pipeline. Our goal here is a deterministic ledger, predictable key pairs, and reproducible artifacts every single time.
Section 2. The big three stages. Build, test, deploy. To get that predictability we're craving, our assembly line needs to be separated into three distinct stages. Step 1 is the build stage. This has to produce the exact same program binary and Anchor IDL file when given the same source code. No exceptions. Step 2 is the test stage, which must run deterministic unit and integration tests against a completely controlled validator instance. And step 3 is the deploy stage. This stage must reproducibly publish that compiled program binary and emit stable deployment artifacts that your front-end or other services can easily consume. The main takeaway here? Each stage must guarantee absolute reproducibility before passing the baton to the next one.
Section 3. Artifacts and Caching. How to speed up your CI.
Listen, if we rebuild everything from scratch every single time, our CI pipeline is going to crawl to an absolute halt, and you'll spend half your day just waiting for cargo to compile. And nobody wants that. Anchor projects rely heavily on compiled shared objects from cargo and generated artifacts from the Anchor build command. If you don't cache, you're wasting time and risking broken builds just because of some random network dependency change. So you need to implement caching for your cargo registry and target directories. On top of that, explicitly persist the compiled.so binaries and save those generated IDL JSON files. By using strict artifact versioning and checksums, you make sure that even if a toolchain updates unexpectedly, your build is still relying on the exact artifacts it expects.
Section 4. Keys and Environments. Protecting your materials.
With our artifacts moving quickly, we really need to talk about where this factory is actually running. You need to embrace this concept, the ephemeral validator. Think back to our previous lesson on persistent local nodes. Those are awesome for your daily developer flow because they're fast and they keep state. But in CI, we want the exact opposite. An ephemeral validator is a short-lived automated test validator launched strictly inside the pipeline for integration tests. It spins up clean, runs your tests, and is immediately destroyed. That guarantees absolutely no leftover state will pollute your next test run.
And because our environments are so explicit, our pipeline behavior has to switch dynamically based on context. For instance, if you push code to a feature branch, the pipeline should only trigger the build and test stages against that ephemeral node we just talked about. This gives developers super fast feedback. But if that pull request gets merged into the main branch, the pipeline recognizes the environment change and triggers a staged deployment to a scriptable testnet.
It's all about explicit branches mapped to explicit environments.
Now, for the operational detail that can literally make or break a Web3 project, key management. I seriously don't think I need to explain the catastrophic, career-ending chaos of accidentally pushing a production key to a public GitHub repo. Don't be that person. For staging and production deploys, there are really two safe patterns. You either store the program key pair JSON as an encrypted CI secret and write it to a file at runtime, or you use a secure signing service via an authenticated API. Whichever route you choose, you must enforce the principle of least privilege, meaning the CI key should only be able to write program data, and for the love of all things holy, rotate those deployment keys periodically.
Section 5, Hardhat to Anchor. The EVM to SVM equivalence.
I know a lot of you guys are coming over from the Ethereum ecosystem, so let's take a second to translate your EVM habits directly into SVM realities. In Hardhat, you'd normally cache your node_modules. In Anchor, as we just discussed, you're going to cache your cargo registry and target directories. Where you used to spin up an npx Hardhat node for testing, you now launch an ephemeral Solana test validator. For deterministic migrations, instead of relying on those sequential script files, you'll use explicit Anchor deploy scripts with pinned anchor.toml configurations and program keys. And finally, instead of hiding a seed phrase mnemonic as a secret, you store the specific key pair JSON files as encrypted CI secrets. See? The underlying logic is exactly the same. It's really just the syntax and the tools that have changed.
Section 6. CI Blueprint in Action. The GitHub Actions Flow.
Let's actually see how this builds out a complete automated pipeline in GitHub Actions. The script kicks off with the setup phase. First things first, we check out the repository so our CI can access your code. Next, and this is super vital, we set up a pinned Rust toolchain. Strict determinism is the real secret sauce here. You do not want some random, unexpected Rust update breaking your build on a Friday night. We then implement our caching strategy, and we derive the cache key from the cargo.lock hash, so that changes to dependencies will properly invalidate the cache. Finally, we install a pinned release of the Solana CLI.
Once setup is completely dialed in, we move right into the build and test phase. We run anchor build-workspace to compile our programs and generate those IDLs. Then we start up our ephemeral test validator with the -reset flag just to ensure a completely clean ledger. Because this ephemeral node mimics local behavior perfectly, we can actually just create a dummy CI key pair right on the fly and request an automated airdrop of LAMP ports to fund our test transactions. Finally, we run anchor test-skip build. Why do we skip the build? Well, because we literally just built it explicitly in the previous step, which guarantees we are testing the exact artifact we intend to deploy. The final stage is the deploy phase, and we configure this to only run on the main branch. Notice that we don't rebuild the code here. Instead, we safely restore those compiled build artifacts from the very first phase. We securely pull our encrypted key from the CI provider and write it straight into program keypair.json. We set the Anchor wallet environment variable so Anchor knows exactly which key to use for signing. And finally, armed with securely injected keys and identically restored artifacts, we execute Anchor deploy against our target cluster. Boom! A perfectly secure automated publish.
So ask yourself, is your deployment pipeline completely deterministic? Remember the two golden rules we've hammered home today. Make your artifacts explicit and make your environments explicit. By enforcing pinned toolchains, utilizing those ephemeral validators, and locking down your key management, you effectively eliminate the human risk from your deployments. You get to preserve all the reliability you expected from your old Hardhat workflows, but now it's supercharged for Anchor and Solana. Thank you so much for joining this Forge College Explainer. We highly encourage you to head over to forge.college to learn more about this subject, access our full track, and explore a ton of other deep dive Web3 topics. See you in the next one.